Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. We are looking at APE once again. And for 4 days in a row now, you have been a sore loser if you have been long APE. This is an unfortunate mess that we look at right now because we're seeing acceleration to the downside. You see 4 days ago we were down 6.6%, then 3 days ago 11.3%, yesterday 7.9%, today 17.9%. So the move that we've seen now has actually gotten more extreme. The volume too, if you look over the past 2 days, we have over 260 million shares traded, probably over 270 there. What's super interesting though is that we've gone from the very top of the range on the 18th here. You can see when it has red lettering with white background, that means it's 2 standard deviations above its 23-day average. Now it is with blue lettering with white background. That means it's 3 standard deviations below its 23-day average in just 4 days, essentially. That's remarkable to see when you think about any kind of movement in any kind of stock, but especially a stock that does have the name recognition of an AMC. It's ironic it's called APE, but when you look at what we have here, essentially we can see that we've gone bearish on the short term for the trend. We've flipped a short on the short term signal. We don't have necessarily a confirmation on the sell signals yet, but we are rolling negative return on the 1 day, 5 day, 15 day, 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month. I mean, could you get much worse? I honestly don't think you could. Now, when we look at the overall rolling sentiment as well, the concern that I have is that we're still in a rising bull. So even though that we know that we're falling, which you can see if we're looking at the ultra fast sentiment right here at 60%, that was 2 days ago. That was 2 days ago. Today we ended at 53%, and tomorrow we're going to end up bringing in a 50. So we'll be right kind of in balance. But the 10-day rolling could still go much lower. We'll be at 47 tomorrow. You could fall into the high 30s, maybe low 30s, depending on how bearish things get, especially because this is a penny stock and the type of moves that we're seeing are the multi-digit percents, double-digit percents in a day down. We've got 2 of the key bears. Yeah, 2 bear key 3, and that's not great. Coming, falling, bear, also not great. Let's look at these charts. Obviously, it's not been around that long, so the weekly chart is pretty short term. The daily chart, though, the one thing that is what I find to be probably the weirdest pattern, or at least the character of APE, is that it essentially had no volatility. It either has extreme volatility like you saw very early on in 2023, or you see essentially no volatility, which is what you saw for the rest of 2023. Now that we're seeing the extreme volatility, and because of the type of move that it is, I have to believe in it. Now, I'm not saying there won't be a snapback very similar to what kind of move you saw here, where you saw I don't know what you call this, a pyramid, a mountain, and up and down. I don't know, just essentially a waste of time. I mean, unless you bought at the bottom and sold at the top. If not, essentially, it was just a round trip. You went from where you started to where you ended, and then sideways. And when we look at the overall daily sentiment, we can see that we are definitely going below that 15-day moving average. We are around 50%, so that's really nice to see. But when we look at the volume unfortunately is showing up when the price is falling. And that's a major concern. You're seeing a humongous rip up in this 15-day moving average of volume, which is probably at this point the highest that it's been, or at least getting very close. You're getting close to 50 million shares traded. Going to be for the 15-day rolling average, which that we have not been there before. We can see the volatility. Just a very odd picture. You can see it's rolling over. It's starting to definitely plateau. And the correlation with price, which is the blue bars, it is plateauing itself, but it's still negative. It's still just negative. So this move essentially would mean that the price should kind of start to go sideways, but the price really is in control. The volatility has no bearing on what is actual price movement here. We've gone in an absolutely stunning fashion. Absolutely stunning. We've gone from the top of the range, actually breaking up above it again on the 18th, to now being below the range on the 24th. That is remarkable that this is found to be somewhat you know what? I'll give it credit. It has interest. There are people paying attention to what's happening in APE, and that is wonderful for the market. So I'll say that about that. When we think about the overall ultra fast sentiment, nothing good. But tell me what you think in the comments below. You long, you short, you like it, you love it. This is even a good review. But before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We give you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday. Stocks breaking out, stocks between $5 and $20, and stocks hitting all-time highs. Go get yourself some. Talk to you soon.